We are live. I'm going to share my screen with you
Okay.
and we'll get started.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with Delana.
Yeah, you have to for this, for sure. My middle name is Louise.
Okay, well, when's your birthday?
It's the 8th of the 7th, 79.
Sorry, the 8th of December?
The 7th, sorry, the 8th of the 7th, 79. So the 8th of July?
Okay. 1979?
Yeah.
Time?
3:45 p.m.
Okay, and place?
Blackwood, South Australia.
Okay. Moon in Sagittarius rising, right?
Yeah.
Conjunct Neptune, very interesting. Right,
Is it?
because you said that you're moving around frequently. And that your
Yeah.
body wants to just settle
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be moving around, like for my constitution. But so what I'm doing at the moment is I am following my ancestral magic. So I packed up my apartment in Australia because I wasn't, my life was very comfortable, but I wasn't feeling joy and I wanted to adventure and I was getting old. So I packed up everything and decided to travel around Europe to follow my ancestral magic and to see where felt like home and what my spiritual practice felt like when I was on the actual like land, like feet on soil of my ancestry.
Okay, very good. So actually that's already a great entry point into your chart for us today. I'm going to bring up the transits. And you can see that at this time, and in fact for the previous 8 months or so, transiting Jupiter is in Cancer and conjunct your natal sun in Cancer.
Yeah,
And
which
in fact,
I thought would have made my career prospects better, but it hasn't.
yeah, so we'll get to that in just a moment, but the fact that you're traveling to ancestral land.
Yeah.
And you're traveling around Europe, seeing where it feels like home, planting your feet, adventuring, right?
Yeah.
Right. So do you see that Jupiter conjunct your sun in Cancer?
Well,
that's been for the past year, basically.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, tell me about career. What does
that mean? Or are you going to tell me after?
What does what mean?
Jupiter conjuncting my sun. Like, what does that mean? Like,
well, I'm reflecting that to you because you just explained that during this period you've gotten up and gone traveling, adventuring.
That's what it means.
And you're doing that specifically to visit ancestral land.
Yeah.
Right? That's Cancer. Right? So Jupiter.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hey, you got to explain it to me like I'm a dummy, okay?
Okay, so you don't have too much experience with astrology, is it?
Some, but I guess I'm like ready to learn, you know, like so I'm I'm not going to take things for granted that you say. I'm not going to make assumptions.
Okay, very good. Well, look, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. And so it's when you do things that expand you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And so traveling and doing the spiritual journey looking for ancestral land.
Right. Okay.
Right. And so that's the Cancer energy, the ancestors, where you come from, the people that you originate from, the place you originate from.
Yeah. Connecting to my, you know, to my roots. And I guess that other people have been talking about Jupiter as being like in charge of well, I mean, I guess they have been saying expansion, but the things that I've been reading have been attached to like, you know, money or you know, like increase. Do you know what I mean? Not just expansion, but increase. But if you're talking about expansion, then it does make sense because I'm certainly learning, certainly gathering information.
Okay, so let's talk about your career.
Please.
What do you do for work?
Okay, so I have my own practice, which is something that has like joined together from all the things that I do in my life. So what I do is I make magical objects. so ritual tools and ceremonial robes for other spiritual practitioners. And it's about enhancing their power. And sometimes I make these commission magical objects for people that are just very magnetic people, like really feeling their main character energy. And part of what I do is I use all of my ancestral divinatory tools. So I've worked something out using tarot, which is Italian, part of my heritage, and runes, which is Scandinavian, which is the other part of my heritage. And what I do is work out how that person's, I'm going to use the word magic, but like how they express themselves in this lifetime. So we do a really big deep dive and we look at their blocks and where they thrive and what they're supposed to be doing as their world task in this lifetime. And then I make them a personalized bind rune that is the symbolic and vocal expression of their power. And then I sew that into a robe, or I carve that into, you know, a smoke wand or whatever it is that they use in their practice, and send that off to them. And then after that, I make an activation meditation so that the object can become an intangible ally, and they can take that with them into the spirit realm so that they can have this object with them in a liminal space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you work with magic, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. I see. Like very intangible realm kind of stuff, but bridging the two.
Definitely bridging the two, because I work with objects, and one of my talents, and I've only it's only made sense to me like in my 40s, but one thing that I've always been able to do is identify physical objects that have high energy, so that have like a lot of mana or chi or whatever in them. And for some reason, unbeknownst to me, before I joined the dots in this business, I just used to collect these things. And I'm talking about like if you're going for a walk in nature, or if you go into a thrift store or whatever, I'm drawn to these objects that inherently have power. Talismans.
How interesting is that?
Yeah, I know, but also I'm very poor.
Yay.
And it's not because what I'm doing isn't going to work. It's because I have healing and ancestral blocks around my visibility and around my story with money. Because like I was saying to you before, when people find me, they get fascinated and they're like, yeah, let's do this. Like, what you're charging is like nothing for what I want for this experience. But I'm finding that it's hard to find those people. But I'm also at the point now in my life where spirit is saying to me, you're not supposed to be doing anything else. So finding a normal job is becoming more and more difficult, even though I've got all of these other skills. Like I'm a professional chef, I've been an artistic director, I'm a professional writer, I've got a PhD in creative writing. The universe is just like shutting down everything except for this path.
Okay, let's just cover the ground that we've gotten through so far. And I'm going to ask you to keep an open mind when I'm reflecting your astrology back to you, and try not to reference the things that you've read. I guess that's maybe not possible, but we're looking at things very symbolically.
Yeah, okay. Sure. I can clean slate.
Okay, nice. Let's do that. Okay. One step at a time here. Let's take out Mars. Let's take out Saturn for now. Okay, maybe these are the planets I want to keep for now. Okay, let's start with your Moon-Neptune conjunction.
Sure.
That, first of all, you are sensing the energy inside of objects. So that blending of worlds, of sensing things in the material world, I feel very much like the Moon-Neptune energy. And that you work with magic Like you create, well, you it's like you take people to the astral realm, right? So everything you're doing is kind of very non-physical in a way, like in one sense. So there I feel the Moon Neptune conjunction again, and you're ascending in Sagittarius, right? Because you said you take them to liminal places.
Yeah.
Okay. And you do the meditations as well, right? So everything you're doing is kind of taking them beyond a place they've been before. It's journeying, it's traveling.
Or
Okay.
I meet them where they are out in their own liminal space.
What does that mean?
Like usually the people that I work with are practitioners. So when I'm making this meditation activation for them, their guides and ancestors and whatever will want input because there's specific information that's going to be relevant and resonant for them so that it can tie this object and these symbols to them so that it can work as like a focus point for what it is they do.
So what I'm hearing, you're also connecting with people in astral. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And you experience that vividly. Is it like for you it's kind of a normal part of life?
Oh, always has been ever since I was a kid. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There you can see your Moon Neptune conjunction in Sag on the ascendant, yeah? That you project into astral easily, regularly, normally in everyday life.
Is that what that means?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Does it make sense when you see it just, or maybe you don't have enough knowledge to put it together yet?
Yeah, maybe I don't have enough knowledge to put it together, but also like you said, I'm like clean slating it. So I'm just like,
I'm going to try to explain it because then, probably some people that are watching are like you. So I'm going to take the time to explain it a bit more thoroughly. The moon is kind of how you are on the inside, like how you experience yourself.
Yeah, like the reflection of me, the inner me.
Yeah, like your thoughts and where you naturally reside, like how you experience life in your mind, right? Which other people don't have access to. That's something very personal. So that's the moon. The moon is your personal experience that other people don't see.
Sure.
And she's sitting on your ascendant, and that's very important because the ascendant is the point that represents kind of like your everyday life and what's the consistent background theme of everything that's going on all the time, like every day. Yeah. And Sagittarius is that energy of projecting into the astral, like going beyond somebody's going into the unknown. Right. And Neptune is also that energy of like being in the astral realm, being everywhere, being with the fairies, right? Being with the cosmic council.
Okay, so it's saying that like my everyday life is constantly colored by the fact, like relentlessly colored by the fact that I connect to these other places.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Exactly. Is that, and would you say that's true?
Oh, like in a way that I almost find debilitating sometimes because it's like I can only really feel comfortable with people that I can say stuff to that to, I'm not going to say a majority, but well, maybe to a majority of the population, it sounds too weird. It's too hard for them to process just as like a day-to-day conversation. But it's the only way I feel 100% comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's a bit tiring, honestly, to live in this society, which is why I live out in the middle of the forest, because I need the space from the normal thoughts around me, because people's thoughts take up so much space.
Oh, that's interesting. So you can kind of see like the energy streams of people and what they're doing.
I probably could if I tried, but right now at the moment, it's definitely more in my clairsentient and my claircognizant. So I'm feeling it and I know it's there. I don't really want to switch on my clairvoyance to its full capacity because I'm in survival mode.
I see. Okay, so you're very spiritually tuned, very sensitive.
Yeah, and I mean, I learned
and very like all over the place, kind of.
Yeah, but really what's happening is that I'm processing a much larger input of information than most people even deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Okay. So we have your moon Neptune on the ascendant. Now we also have your Mercury Jupiter conjunction in the ninth Leo. All right, let's move to that part of your chart.
Okay.
So Mercury is about information input. Okay. Jupiter expands again, right? So
Okay.
lots and lots and lots and lots of information coming in.
Great.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
The other thing is think about, you told me that you have a degree in creative writing.
Yeah.
Right? So Mercury is the writer and Leo is the creative, right? The expressionist. And it's happening in the ninth house, which is the house of education. Okay, so
Okay.
being a prolific writer, Mercury, Jupiter, Leo in the ninth house.
Sure. Well, I mean, and I'd love to continue with that. And it is something that, because in my postgraduate degree, I withdrew my research right at the very last minute because of something that the university that I was with did that I found extremely unethical. So I was like, I don't want to be attached to this place for the rest of my life. And one thing that I've been wondering is, can I revisit my PhD with another university? But again, I've been finding it, the contact, the communication that I usually have in the world, I've been finding really, really difficult. Like usually if I want a job or if I wanted to connect with another university, I would do my due diligence because I'm very good at that, right? I'd find the pathway and I'd write a letter and I'd hear back straight away, right? With a yes. At this point in my life, I'm getting silence and no. And that's all I'm getting. And it's crazy to me.
Okay.
I'm like, where am I supposed to be right now?
All right. So that makes me think about a few things. Now, remember, the Mercury Jupiter is like your PhD in creative writing that we're talking about now. Okay. There is Pluto now that is opposing your Mercury and Jupiter, and the opposition is going to be exact like in 2030. Right, but it's still happening now, which makes me think about the silence that you're getting. There's that situation with the university, something unethical happened. Now you're thinking about going back, but it's a long process. You're getting crickets, right? So there's a big transformation happening here. Notice that while you're being pushed away from the university path, where you're being sent? You're being sent to help people explore what? Their creative expression. Mercury, Jupiter, Leo.
Yep.
Yeah, do you get it? And so you're helping. Okay. Got it. And the other part of this is, like, if you look at your sun, Venus in Cancer, and Cancer is the sign of origins, like where you've come from, where your mother and father and their ancestors come from, right? So the whole lineage, the bloodline.
Yeah.
And you're doing your work in part, like you said, with the Scandinavian runes and with the Italian tarot.
Yeah.
Besides everything else that you do, right? So there's this big focus for you on your culture, your heritage. There's the Cancer. So there you see how
I feel like magic can't work through appropriation, and like your ancestry is tied to your genes, which is what makes up your flesh sac, which is your antenna in this lifetime. Do you know what I mean? Like the way that your cells are shaped are the way that you can receive information, and that has to do with your genetic heritage, where you were born, you know, so it's all tied in cosmically.
Okay. Right. So okay, all the various paths are not open to you, but this path is. So can you explain more about why you're poor, and what is your experience finding clients, and why are you not able to have
I feel a really big scarcity blockage from my mother's side. I'm not close to my family, okay? Like none of them call me to ask me if I'm okay or anything like that. And I've been the ancestral chain breaker for this family group. And I think that I've done a pretty good job. Like it took me a while to work out that that's what it is that I was supposed to be doing. But I'm also very alone. So And I don't mean like, oh, woohoo, I'm lonely. I mean like I'm a solitary creature, like the way that I feel like at the moment I'm helping and I'm not in the flow of receiving that help back, which makes it really hard for me to grow, you know, because you have to be in the whole give and receive cycle. You can't just be giving out all the time. And I think that one of my issues is that I have a block to receiving because within my family group, I was the scapegoat for, you know, a group of self-interested people through fear, through their own ancestral shit, right? But I don't feel supported, and I never have felt supported by my family. So it's hard for me to find and receive that from the world in general, which is obviously something that I'm working on, or I wouldn't be able to talk about it. But I feel the block in my body, and it's what stops me from being able to just be visible to the people that I know would want to work with me. And like, I'll have really good periods of time where people will book in for readings, people will, you know, commission objects and whatever, and then it will just go completely dry. And so then in those periods of time, what I do is I swap over to more kind of like normal world stuff, you know, which at a point gets dissatisfying, but helps me feed myself and my puppies and whatever. But at the moment, the universe is definitely saying to me, I'm going to strip everything away until you're only doing this. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I felt like I rambled a bit then. Sorry. I get very tangential.
As you should. It's good that you share more, because the more information I have, the better I can work with it.
Okay.
Oh, very interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm looking at your progressions.
Yeah.
There's a few things that stand out to me.
What are progressions?
Well, progressions are kind of a way to play with time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, transits are just the location of the planets right now against
Sure.
your chart, right?
Sure.
Progressions are a little different. They take your chart and they progress it one. How can I explain?
I think
Okay,
I get it
how
already.
old are you now? How old are you now?
46.
46. So your progress chart right now is the same chart as the transits 46 days after you were born. Okay, so it accounts 1 year of your life as 1 day after your day of birth. That's how the progressions work. Okay, so the chart we're looking at right now is the chart of the transits 46 days after you were born. Does that make sense? That's the
Yes,
progression.
yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, so I just want to ask a couple clarifying questions. What would you call this work, first of all, if you had a title for it?
What do you mean?
Like, what would you term yourself?
Well, not to sound grandiose, but I am a maker of magical objects.
Okay, a maker of
And I mean, obviously there's a lot behind that, but yeah, bringing the intangible into the physical realm is definitely part of what my purpose is, or I wouldn't be able to identify these. So it's not even like I go looking for them. These objects already exist in the world as sentient creatures, and I happen to have the right physical makeup that when I walk around, they go, hey, hi, I want to be a walking stick. I want to be a something or other. Pick me, you know, so they talk to me.
When did you start making magical objects?
I've probably been doing it since ever, but I only recognized that this was actually like a thing and not just something that I did in my private time, you know, that I was actually making these objects for other practitioners. And that happened after I learned a lot about like what is spirituality, how do I classify these things, what's happening to me, you know, like how can I use my gifts. And I also worked on my personal task, which was being the chain breaker in my family group. And then I had this like massive progression, and all of these little pieces just joined in, because what I've been doing in my artwork is something called superfiction, which is a physical object that joins with a piece of writing so that it ends up looking like something real but isn't. So it's like something that could have happened, something that could have existed but doesn't. So I've always been working in that liminal space, been drawing in stories from other dimensions, you know. And the thing that I didn't realize was that the art practice was a smokescreen, was a way to be palatable, right? Says I'm a crazy artist, when in reality I was actually making magical objects.
Okay, I see. And
Sorry, my little girl dog is talking to me right now because we're usually walking. So I just need to explain to her that I'm doing something, okay? And we'll go in a minute. But if you do that, it will take longer. Okay? You can come and sit with me. Okay. She's going to be a pain for a minute, but it's better.
That's nice. Okay, so you talked. Okay.
I talk to everything because everything talks to me, you know, and I've always been like that since I was a little kid.
Okay, that's very interesting. That's again your moon Neptune on the ascendant in Sag. Can you explain to me what's changed in the previous like year? Something has changed. You're starting something new.
Well, yeah, just I guess like 100% believing in myself. So when the thing happened with my with needing to withdraw my PhD research, it was crushing. But what my sorry, 1 second. Come here. Come here. Come here. All right. She just needs to be part of the process. So when I had to withdraw my research, my supervisor said to me, like, fuck academia, just go and be an artist in the world, you know, just go and do and be the thing. And I guess after that happened, it was when I really started to have this realization that it's like I was creating a template, a version of myself to like stand in front of myself, but it was actually blocking me from what I was supposed to be doing.
Okay.
So yeah, what's changed is me bringing my spiritual practice as a practical thing into the real and normie world, as like, this is my job, you know, like I am a witch, I am a traveler, I am a walker between worlds, and this is actually what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay. Now I'm getting more into Saturn on your midheaven. Right, my eyes are staying there quite a bit. And I would like to talk about that next.
Do you know, I just had this funny thought of you in the future and students watching this and them being able to make their own connections that they get excited about from just looking at the chart and hearing me speak. And then you're going to be able to have a conversation about it afterwards, where different people are going to have actually picked up and read different things into it, and that they're going to find it really exciting. So that's like a premonition that I've had about what you're doing.
That's already happening because I have a
Right.
school. But yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, I could sense that you're going to pick things up. I have some friends that are similar to you, have similar skills. So I'm very familiar with what you're talking about. It's nice.
Well, no, you're very comfortable.
Yeah. Um okay, so I want to talk about Saturn that is on your midheaven.
Sure.
And one of the things is, Saturn has that energy of being very restrictive, but also being very masterful, and being very methodical and collected and organized and
Okay.
orderly. And I feel that in you pursuing a PhD, for example, because it takes a really long time to accomplish. Like you have to work and work and work and work. And
Yeah.
in your case, there was even the need to withdraw, right? And so this is a lot about Virgo as well, because Virgo is the writer, Virgo is the student, Virgo is the researcher, right? Virgo is ruled by Mercury. And so Virgo is the one to study something and put together articles and put together a book of explaining how something works from start to finish, right? And
Sure.
so there that you were pursuing it, and also the fact that you had to pull out the research because I guess something bad had happened at the university. I didn't understand.
It did help me define my identity. Going through the process of the PhD defined what I'm doing in my business. It gave me that space that to be introspective
Mhm.
in a formulated and academic way, which I love.
Mhm.
And I mean,
Mhm.
my PhD
I
could be a
totally.
book.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying my PhD could be a book. And I definitely think that people would be interested in publishing it. But I'm really stuck at the moment with like, how do I make my day-to-day, survival and have the time to, like reshape my PhD into a book, like those two things don't work together.
And so you keep work. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
So
keep on trying to force myself back into the normal world, like just getting a job as a chef or, like anything, like just a normal, like summer job or whatever. And for some reason,
uh-huh.
I'm just not like, usually I could just wake up in the morning, think to myself, I need a job. And my little backward, behind the scenes manifesting power would be like bing, 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 bing. And, 24 hours, 48 hours later, I'd have a job, right? Now I've applied for hundreds of jobs over the space of like 3-4 months, nothing. The only thing that's worked is my own business.
Uh-huh. Okay, there's a couple things I want to point out to you.
Please.
Um, okay, Virgo is an earth sign. And therefore, part of Virgo is about everyday realities, like making ends meet.
Yeah.
And there, Saturn in your 10th house, right, in Virgo, that oftentimes you have to take normie work, right? Real people work, tangible work, earthly
Yeah, which
work,
I don't mind.
which you don't mind, but you're forced kind of into it in order to survive, right? And so you
Oh,
have this very difficult time finding your vocation and stabilizing it, making a business, right? Figuring out exactly what to do. And right, so for me, that's all Saturn and Virgo. Now notice if I put up your progressions, and you'll notice the progressed moon, she moves 1 degree per month. Okay.
mhm.
So look at what happens if I go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, right? So this entire period right now, the progressed moon is conjunct your Saturn and also your progressed Saturn. Hence, at this moment, you're sending out lots of applications, which is also Virgo, because think about it. It's the
Yeah,
process
okay.
of Mercury, right? Filling things out and submitting them.
Yeah,
But
sure.
you're getting rejection after rejection. Despite the fact you're working to submit so many of them, you're getting no after no after no.
Well, and I know that I'm skilled and I know that I'm employable and I know that I'm doing a good job. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not having a moment where I'm like, oh my God, am I actually shit or whatever? I feel blocked. Like it feels unnatural, the amount of silence that I'm getting. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not supposed to be going in that direction.
But does this make sense to you? Also, the timing of it. The reason you're getting the silence is because of this, at least in the astrological perspective.
Well, explain it to me like I'm stupid. I mean, are you, because like, you know, that could be very, hey, what's happening?
Okay. Okay, the progressed moon is about where you are in life right now, this month. Where's your attention? Where's the energy? What kind of vibe are we dealing with?
Sure.
Okay. Saturn is the one to make you work really hard and you don't see fruit for a long time, but something is being chiseled out, but you're not too sure what's being sculpted, but you're just trusting the process, but it's very uncomfortable in the meantime, and you're receiving a lot. That's the Saturn energy.
I do have a good business plan. I've got like about 3 different, very polished, lovely resumes, you know, so it's like if an opportunity came up, or when opportunities do come up, I can just press buttons. I'm like, bang, 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 apply for this job, apply for that job. So it's definitely made me work behind the scenes in ways that are useful to me in the future. Yeah.
And that's also Virgo, right? Virgo, Moon, Saturn, getting things done right now that are going to be useful for you in a long time to come. Because Saturn is about the hard work. Right, and it's also about the silence. It's when you're working hard and you're getting nothing in return. Nobody's saying yes. That's Saturn, right? Obstacle, the big, big, big obstacle. So this is the period you're in right now.
So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling blocked. There's like a mountain in front of me, and I can't find the path over.
Okay, let me show you something. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, look at the progressed moon is at 14 degrees Virgo. Okay, look at progressed Saturn, he's at 15 degrees. The degrees are about timing. Now look at what happens 1 month from now. She makes exact conjunction at 15 degrees. Now look at what happens 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6. You see, she starts to pull away. When she starts to pull away from Saturn, you start to feel relief, and that period of your life starts to be over. So for me, it's really a question of time. And this distance that the moon travels from Saturn indicates the amount of time you're spending dealing with that issue and eventually finding a resolution. But the resolution is unlikely to come right this second, right? Because you're just right at the peak of it.
Well,
right at the peak of it.
Okay. And so you're telling me that like maybe not for another, like, I don't know, 3 months or something.
It depends. Sometimes when the moon makes the exact conjunction with Saturn, there's a very important event. Maybe a conversation, maybe there's a contract, maybe you get a client, maybe you meet someone that can be very helpful to you. But overall, you're going to continue feeling that vibe for the next several months.
I mean, I'd rather be prepared, you know?
Right, exactly. That's the point, right, exactly. So that you understand how long these things take.
But like, you know, are we talking like 3 months, 6 months until there's like actually relief on this feeling of like being buried?
Maybe 1 month.
Okay. Do you know, it's funny. 1 month from about now is where I'm like, if you haven't, so I've got all of these manifesting goals set up and I'm very specific about what I want for this 1 month, you know, and it is 1 month. I've never set myself a time period like that before. And I'm like, okay, if it doesn't work after this month, you're going to have to give up your apartment and go and live in a workaway or something like that, because I just, with the money that I make at the moment, I can't afford it. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to stop looking for jobs and I'm going to go 100% in on my business and be like, I want to see this much progress within this month.
Okay. So just look at the progressions again, right? And just think about where the moon is in the 10th house, right? Because the 10th house is all about your business and your work and your employment and your vocation, your calling, your career, like what you do for the world, right? How you express yourself to the public.
Yeah, what I do for the world. Yeah.
And so see, it's exactly, moon is at 14, Saturn is at 15. That's 1 month, right? And that is why you're setting that deadline for yourself right now. And in 1
Right.
month, the moon's gonna. So it's very likely that you're gonna get rid of your apartment.
Oh, really?
I think so. I don't know. It could be. It could turn out the exact opposite way. But Moon Saturn tends to be like hard realities.
Okay.
Right. And that all is happening in exact sextile to your sun. That's very interesting. Right? Because your sun is in Cancer. And Cancer is about your housing.
Yeah.
So now, right now, you're facing the situation that you may have to leave your apartment and go somewhere, work away, stay somewhere, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't afford, because if your career is not taking up, right? Do you see how they're connected?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then your
That's
sun is
a
in
very
Cancer in the
sobering
seventh house.
thought, you know.
Huh?
Woo-wee, because I don't like being homeless,
Right.
obviously, because I've got so much cancer stuff
And
happening.
think about it, like look how progressed Saturn. Now, progressed Saturn moves much, much, much more slowly. Okay. And he's making an exact sextile to your sun. That's like multiple years of something happening. One of those things could be that you're the cycle breaker of your life, like all of your life, right? Because think about it, Saturn has only progressed 6 degrees the entire time that you've lived. So all your life you've had progressed Saturn applying sextile to your sun in Cancer. Therefore, not being liked or supported by your family is a constant experience.
Yeah.
Do you see
Okay.
it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I mean, it
Okay.
doesn't change my reality, but like, thanks, planets.
Yeah, it doesn't change your reality. No, it doesn't.
At least, it's, I mean, obviously, and I don't mean this in an egotistical way either, but obviously I'm very tapped in to what's happening, you know, like the planets are affecting me and I'm making decisions with information from the cosmos, even though I'm not aware of the fact that I'm doing it.
What we all do, right? Because we're all just cosmic figments.
Yes, it's true. It's
And
true.
so we're being essentially, we're just running a program. This is the program we're running.
We're running a program. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Right. And so, but there's something else I see now. Because Saturn is completing the sextile, right? He reached 15, your sun is at 15. That was a timing indicator in your life. Okay. As soon as Saturn is going to move to 16, I feel like that means you've kind of completed the big work. And now that work is behind you and there's something new beginning. That is
That's
how
really
it's
interesting because there is this like, I was forced into a conversation with my mother the other day. And in that conversation, because I was in pain, I said things to her in just a very straightforward kind of way, which I don't usually do. My Cancerian traits usually make me go like, this is how I feel. I know how I feel, but it's a big feeling and it's too much for this other person. So I'm going to think of a way to make how I feel palatable for them. And I just didn't. I just wrote how I felt. And so there is sort of like this underlying, you know, within the next month that I'm going to have what feels like some kind of like final communication and contact with my family. And whether that's final in the kind of way that, like, you know, it will be fully cut off after that, or that I'm going to see that there has been some kind of change because I've changed. Or no, listen, I haven't changed. I'm just not going to make myself small anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting to me because it could be the end of a cycle that has been. And I mean, the story with my family is nuts, right? Like, part of the reason why I could figure out that I was supposed to be the chain breaker was because I went no contact with them. And in that period of time, my mum and my dad, that have been divorced ever since I was a baby, got back together. And so then I had to have an experience of how my parents worked together as a dynamic at like 44, which was crazy. And going back into this weird version of a family group after I had gone no contact and told them, like, I'm not talking to you guys anymore because this is toxic. I can't handle the way that you treat me. So this is my no. To then have to experience this weird, very temporary situation where my parents actually got back together, and it's just like, whose life is this? Like, it's so fucking weird.
What? Sorry, when you were 4, so that was 2 years ago that happened.
Yeah.
And then it didn't happen it didn't last, or what? I didn't get it.
No, I mean, it didn't last because my parents just sort of enacted a microcosm of what their relationship was like anyway. I think that my mum got a lot of closure and growth from it that didn't, she hasn't really embodied it, but my dad just did the exact same thing over again, like in a way that's like absolutely mind boggling. And it's like everybody's just like more aware, but the trine of my sister, my mother, and my father, and now my nephews added into that, they are all now connected, whereas it wasn't really connected before. And it's very good for all of them. And it's happened because I withdrew, because I said no. Now there is repair within that group of people. And that's what I was supposed to do. Like, I thought that I was supposed to actually be the peacemaker and the communicator and the bridge builder, but that wasn't working. When I said, no, I'm not going to participate, and withdrew all of my energy, that's when the healing started, because they had no one to use as a scapegoat anymore.
I see. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah, around about that time.
Okay. Because Saturn was transiting your 4th house at that time.
What's my 4th house?
The 4th house is everything that's happened in the family, all the family
Right.
dynamics, the very interpersonal, everything that has the history and the past and how you grew up and your sisters and your, right? So everything that has to do with your personal life. And so, and Saturn was making an exact aspect to your sun in Cancer. That was basically all of 2024, right from the 4th house. So that makes me think about how you had that big reckoning with family already at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we looked at the progressions, and you saw, again, where you're at now, and that you gave yourself kind of maybe in a month, there's going to be another final goodbye or something happening, right? There's the moon Saturn again with your sun in Cancer. So this next month is actually really important in your life. Like, this is a really pivotal moment, the moon Saturn progression to your sun. This is like, wow. Yeah.
Okay. Does it give me any advice?
I just feel like you're making a very important decision. Like, this is a turning point for you. It's not really about advice. It's more about just understanding like timing and reflecting on the situation, and understanding how it's organized, right? But something is happening, and I feel like it's to the very positive. That is my take.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course, totally. But now it's kind of like,
are you just saying that because it's a nice thing to say, or are
no,
you?
I'm saying that because that's how I feel from the
Okay.
experience that I have.
Because
But
I
you know,
definitely deserve it, like right now, I definitely deserve, and I can, like, bodily, I can feel this, which is really unusual for me, but like something, uh, supportive, something like like a hand from the sky, like yeah.
totally.
I
Yeah, of course.
deserve
And
that.
also Jupiter is conjunct your sun. I feel like there's opportunities coming for you. Maybe you just have to wait until Taurus season or something. Makes me think about Taurus being more of a grounded, right? Because there's all that Aries energy now. Aries is very like
There
movement,
certainly
disruption,
is.
changes.
Yeah.
And then when Taurus comes, I feel like then you can settle. The other thing I want to point out to you is like your progressed sun has just gone into Virgo. Like, it's at 0 degrees of Virgo. That means you've just completed a 30-year chapter. Much of it has to do with education, from the simple fact that your progressed sun was transiting the 9th house, right? So that was all the stuff with the university and getting your PhD and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There's a new beginning. There's a new beginning in your educational journey. And the progressed sun is approaching your midheaven and your Saturn. That tells me you're going to really start focusing, zeroing in on your work and on your vocation.
For sure, I am. Yeah.
Just thinking about like in general, so where you have Saturn in Virgo, and how you work with objects. And for me, that's the Virgo energy again, because it's an earth sign.
Okay.
Um, yeah. And also how okay, there's one more thing I want to clarify. So you're talking to objects, or they're talking to you when you're
Yeah.
outside, and it's like many objects or just a few of them. And do they really talk? Are they like calling for your attention? They say, "Hey, I want to be made into a chair," or whatever.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Like if I want to have a conversation with something like I don't know, like a house or a tree or a bird or whatever, like it's always possible, but obviously not all of those things want to have a conversation, or they've all got their own, like resonance, sentience, whatever. But magical objects will use my clair abilities to make themselves known to me. And yes, sometimes a piece of wood can be like, oh, I've been waiting my whole life for somebody to find me and turn me into a bowl. It's like they're experiencing within themselves the need to be something other than what they are right now. It's like helping them transform into the thing that they feel that they're meant to be. And then while I'm making it, certain rune signs or gods or spirits or whatever will get really excited and say to me, this is supposed to be used by somebody that has a such and such practice. And so then I can start to weave into the object the intention of amplifying that kind of practice. Oh, this makes me feel weird talking about it.
And then what are the properties of the object? Like, does it amplifies the practice somehow?
Yeah. It's like it becomes their familiar, but it's not.
I get it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then if they want to do the journey further with me rather than just buy an object, I can tune it to them specifically. And that's when it becomes something that is like joyful. Do you know what I mean? That's when it becomes something that's like with the positive energies. And when I talk about doing stuff like this, like I can see myself like a little dwarf in my chamber, with people that know that I'm there, coming to me and being like, I need a such and such, or like I saw, a whatever. Like it feels really right and grounded to me for me to be in the studio and making. And then just sending it out. And I feel like that's my cog. That's where I am the strongest universal
cog. You also work with tools like cutting and soldering and
carving and anything. I just teach myself how to do whatever the thing wants.
Okay, there's Virgo. Yeah, all of the different ways that you can approach an object and work with it. You can scrape it, you can paint it, you can cut it, you can chop it, you can, right? Virgo.
Yeah.
Okay, and learning how to do all of those different processes for your work.
Well, I mean, on my CV, my creative CV, I call myself an interdisciplinary autodidact because it's true. That's what I am.
Okay, there's your Mercury, Jupiter. Do you get it? Interdisciplinary, when you know many, many, many different things and they all come together.
And it's like when I got the specific, I hate the word download, but when I got the information you know, that I'm supposed to be making these magical objects, and that's where my art practice has been leading me to, and that I can actually just like fully embody that in the world. When I went back out into my workshop and started making those objects, I had access to information like a spiritual YouTube, that all of a sudden I could do things like with my hands that I couldn't do yesterday. I had this gravitas.
I get it. Okay. You're getting imbued.
Yeah.
The magical
And it was like me uncovering what I'm actually supposed to be using these skills for, which isn't necessarily as an artist, it's as a spiritual artist. It gave me access to all of this, you know, and I guess you can call it ancestral knowledge, right? And ancestral ties to higher consciousness beings, that it was like I just got this, you know, like this library in my head. And I would usually watch a YouTube video on how to make something, and I found myself in the studio almost like being possessed, being like, oh, I know that this thing has these properties. And I did like a Michelangelo, right? Like I saw the object within the raw material and just moved away the excess.
I totally get it.
I was like, never done that before.
Okay, so you're at the workshop like a lot, like working a lot.
That's where I feel,
and it's a lot of time,
vibrant.
I guess. And I guess you also put like so much effort and energy and intention. You're so intense with it, I guess.
Well, but it's like the object trusts me. So, I mean, if I don't know, I've never really there is a rightness, right? That sounds autistic. There's a rightness, and you just have to do it the right way. So I need to be tapped in while I'm doing it, you know?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah, I just see how these planets are all working together. It's very fascinating, what you're describing. Okay.
But I mean, it's not wacky, right? Like everything that I'm saying is like what I'm supposed to be doing, right?
Well, to me, it feels like almost like you're Atlantean or something, you know, from those ancient, and you just like I'm feeling kind of a different consciousness stream from you.
I was sick one time, and well, actually, when my chronic illness and all of these physical things started happening, and I got visited by, I don't know, like my star family, I guess. I don't know, like there's so much stuff happening in, you know, the popular realm about this kind of stuff at the moment that I feel weird talking about it. But my experience is way before all of these people started calling themselves star seeds and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, so this galactic being came and visited me in the hospital, and it said, you are the star sister's sister. And it showed me a configuration, and the only thing that I can really take out of that is that maybe I'm Pleiadian, because that's like the seven sisters.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, I don't know too much about that, but I'm just feeling it pretty strongly. And yeah, also that you have all these physical issues, Saturn and Virgo, right? Because Virgo again is the physical stuff, so like your body and like your hormones.
Well, it's all in my uterus, which is, you know, really kind of frustrating to me, because I've never wanted to have children.
Yeah, and so again, you can see that it's in your uterus. Remember, in your progressions and even in your natal chart, your entire life, that Saturn and Virgo is connected to your sun in Cancer, which is the uterus.
And it's like been this pressure and toxic energy on my root and sacral chakras.
Okay. Okay, now I'm seeing you like reading the runes that are like inscribed in your body that make it that way. It's almost like a spiritual disease,
right? Well, but it is like I you know, like I used to call it my shaman sickness, because I was reading about these people that lived like around the edge of Mongolia, and they had ancestry that they didn't know about, and that they would get sick, like just that they would just decline. And the only way that they got better was when they started following these dreams and whatever that obviously led them to learning with the shaman. And if they weren't doing that shamanistic work, and I hate using that word because I know it's not mine, but anyway, if they weren't doing that work, they got sick. And it was the only way for their body to respond.
I totally see now that Saturn sun in your life is so special, is so strong. Yeah, being handicapped all of your life, essentially having to deal with those physical issues, which are part of the chain breaking, right? The sun in Cancer does come from your
because
family.
my body's becoming a filter for the toxicity, and I'm where it stops, so it all gets poured into me. Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, let's pause here for today, despite having the most fun.
Okay.
So what did you think about that?
I loved it. Yeah, no, I could have kept on doing that forever and ever, and it was also very comforting.
Does it also explain things to you? Do you understand the astrology when
I could have done with some more explanation, but I think that people that know more than me, when they're listening to it, are going to be really lit up by what it is that you're doing. Yeah. So, yeah, it was like, I feel armed, but I mean, I don't know. I guess, like, honestly, the best thing about that for me was that you just witnessed me. I felt understood.
Right. Okay, very good. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording, and then you and I can chat for a couple minutes more. So to anyone who was listening, I hope that was very informational. I know it sure was for me. And we will see you in the next instance. All right.